right, here we go. Overdrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's up?
What's up?
How was the exchange with the guy that just left the studio? Is it
it's a tense room.
A little frosty, shall we say, between you guys?
Yeah, it's really kind of crazy how quickly this is spun out of control for Al's brother and I. And, Hayes and Bro, we're on the clock tonight. It's going to be a great game. This is a great game. We're doing it again.
Aaron Rodgers. Great games yesterday.
Great games yesterday. Great storylines. We're going to digest all of it, get into it all day. We got Luke coming up. Luke Willson will join us in studio. Al's brother will be here. But not the best start for Hayes and Bro. Let's call it what it is. But it's early, right? It's a marathon. We like to see the teams first. You guys are flipping coins, and it worked out pretty well for you. We need information before we can apply that to logical bets in the future.
Not the best.
So
not the best.
If we can go back to one of our bits. We had an underpants camera on you guys. What number would you be, 0 to 50?
If we lose tonight.
What caused it to get to that number? Like what game? Was it the Cowboys? Was it watching DeShaun Watson?
The Cowboys-Browns game, I got to give credit to Dallas. They played really well.
Yeah.
They played really well. Their defense, that front seven, they were all over the Browns, all over DeShaun Watson. And Dak went in there, and I thought he did all he had to do. It was basically a breeze for him. He's got all that money in the bank. They paid him before the game. That can be a distraction, but I guess it can also be a relief. Thought Dak looked good, looked comfortable, but the Browns were horrible, and DeShaun Watson is horrible, and everything about it is a disaster. And I feel for people in Cleveland. I really feel for people in Cleveland.
I got to be honest.
I listened to a clip for one of their radio shows, and a guy called in. He goes, he's yelling at the top of his lungs. He's got two numbers.
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
One is the QB rating for DeShaun. And the other, if you could believe it, they're actually pissed off, is Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
They are furious that Baker Mayfield is gone now.
Baker Montana. Did you see how well he played yesterday? Threw for 4 touchdowns, had a 146 quarterback rating.
He looked like a world beater.
Brady
yesterday.
Montana. He looks unreal in Tampa.
He'll
going to the playoffs.
You know him.
I don't know. He looks pretty comfortable. I'm telling you, if you're a Browns fan,
dude,
you have to think you made a deal with the devil to get your team back, because it's so crushing. They lost their team. I think in 94, the Browns left. And crushing. And then they returned in 99. They have spent 25 years. You talk about underpants, Cam. 25 years watching the biggest debacle at the quarterback position, year in, year out.
Yes.
And then finally they say, screw it. We're giving up 3 first-round picks. We're going to pay this guy $240 million guaranteed or whatever it is. And DeShaun Watson's the guy. Baker, you're out. DeShaun's in. And DeShaun Watson looks like he should be playing flag football somewhere.
Okay, let me ask you this.
You know what the most concerning thing
terrible.
is, guys? The most concerning thing is, and we've been around athletes for a long time, I get the sense he's just dying to get hurt. I'm telling you. He's dying to get hurt so he can just walk up. God knows what the hell was wrong with that guy last year. Just mystery arm, and it's why isn't this guy playing? He's dying to get hurt so he doesn't have to do it. He just completely lost the eye of the tiger. I don't know what the hell it is. When that guy was in Houston, he was running around one of the greatest athletes of all time, making plays, improvising. Now he's just standing there like a dummy. Wow. It's just what are you doing? And I think he's dying to get hurt so he doesn't have to do it. He's just lost it.
Who's more concerned as a QB today? Danny Dimes or DeShaun?
Jesus,
well,
Danny Dimes.
He's
Danny
walking
Dimes.
out getting catcalled.
Someone said, I wrote this is one of those where I shouldn't even say this on the record without doing my own homework on this.
Right.
Because it was a tweet where you read it and you're like, that can't be real. There's no way. That can't,
You got to fact check.
I have to fact check that because that can't be serious.
Is this the pick 6 one?
Yeah, he's thrown more pick sixes than touchdowns since that massive contract kicked in. More pick sixes than touchdowns. Oh. And he put up 6 points at home yesterday. He is in a blender. He's not just seeing ghosts. He's seeing a whole Halloween.
So between DeShaun Watson and Danny Dimes, Who are you going next week? I believe in this
No, here's
guy.
the question
I don't
for
think
you.
you can.
Here's a
I don't
question
know.
for you.
I have no answer for you.
Here it is for you. You have a team, Hayes, and you've got to pick one of the two to play quarterback for you next year. And you've got to pick between those two guys. Who are you calling to go on your team to play next week?
Dimes.
No, I was going to say I think
Both
DeShaun
times.
Watson is more talented.
He's 100% more
so then
talented.
you got to go with the talent. Maybe he'll get his act together.
That's the
You're not
crazy
taking
thing.
Dimes. You're not doing it.
I would take Dimes' contract, like both contract, like the DeShaun Watson contract. Okay,
250 or 260?
yes, he has 3 years left, $138 million fully guaranteed. He holds $172.7 million of dead cap after the 24 season. So after this, like if they were to get rid of him and be like, screw it, we just got to wash our hands.
Yeah.
They would have it's Parise and Suter times infinity for the Browns. Like they're
God.
screwed with this guy unless he starts playing. The cap hit is outrageous in 25-26. And to your point about the injuries, last year there were a lot of whispers coming out of Cleveland that they thought he should play, and he didn't play through the injury. And then he elected for the surgery. And there's no worse comment you can make on a pro athlete. You guys know that. As pro athletes, there's nothing worse you can say. The guy's making $800,000 or $80 million.
Yeah.
Then that guy would rather just say, check, please, I don't want to be around.
Yeah.
But in that sport in particular, where you play so few games and it's so violent and everyone's injured, and that position in particular, you have to play through injury. Like you have to. It's imperative you do everything you can to get on the field. And Watson, this is the scary thing about guaranteed contracts, and this is what owners in the league is always fighting back with the union for. It's too violent of a game to allow a guy to say, I don't have to play. Like as crazy as that sounds, you need guys who are warped, who are like, I want to play, I have to play, I'm worried about my position, I'm worried about my security. Where DeShaun, they cut him today. He's got $170 million or whatever still coming. $140 million. It doesn't matter what happens.
I told you in that contract, I've never been a Dimes fan, Hayes, and you're aware of that. I've been telling you for years. And you said to me, that's just the going rate, and that's about fair for what he brings to the table.
I don't think that's exactly
you said
what I
that, dude. You said that, and it bothered me. And I'm like, how could you just piss away money like that? And look what they've got on their hands. It drives me nuts how they're just like, well, this is what drives me nuts when a team says, well, I guess that's our guy, so we got to give him the money. No, you move past them to someone else. I don't care if you got to chew on a couple years or what it is. I'm not handing over a bunch of money to a guy who knows that's a stiff.
But
No way.
So
no way.
Yesterday, listening to everybody talk, not one of them were like, yeah, Dak's contract, that's full value. You know what the comment was? He's the next guy up, so that's what he's got to get paid.
Well, that's the way it always does go. Like you look at the top salaries in the NFL, like Jordan Love got paid a fortune. I really like Jordan Love. He doesn't deserve anywhere close to what Mahomes deserves and Allen deserves and Lamar Jackson. He should not even be in their stratosphere.
Right.
But he came up. Dak's a better and a more established quarterback, but he's not Mahomes. He's not Burrow. Like if you're going to hold like the top five guys as the bar, and they should be paid the most, but that applies to every sport, right? McDavid shouldn't be making 12.5. He should be making more than that. Every league you can look at, but with Dak, what they ended up doing was they said, what do you hear all the time with GMs? All the time is, we're not going to make a move just to make a move. How do we replace them? Like, that's what ends up happening. You tell me how we replace them. And what ends up taking place is you get complacent and you just accept the same results you've had. Because I would guess that's precisely what Dak will supply them. Great regular season play. They'll make the playoffs. And until he proves otherwise in the playoffs that he can step up when he needs to, you're paying for regular season success.
Here's how crazy
that's what you're going to get.
Here's the difference between winning and losing in the NFL and how big the sport is and just the difference of winning and losing for quarterbacks. We just heard what Dimes and DeShaun went through. Chris Sims, who works on NBC, started the Dallas Cowboy Cleveland Brown highlight package saying, Dak paying off dividends already. There is no such talk about the contract or anything. It's like, You win week 1, it's like, look at this guy. He's worth every cent. And when you perform like the other 2 turkeys, you are going to get just absolutely destroyed.
And week 1 in particular, we do it every year. We come in here on a Monday like everyone else, and you react and you go crazy, and things can change.
Yeah.
Like maybe DeShaun Watson next week is a stud and the Browns still win.
And Danny Dimes is a rock star.
Maybe Danny Dimes is spitting out quarters or loonies and toonies. I don't know.
Dude,
I'm
they're
not
talking
holding
about
my
the other
breath.
guy already in Cleveland.
Oh, I know, Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
they're already
talking
saying
about
you got to think about that. It happens that quickly. And Bryce Young down in Carolina, did you see him yesterday? How bad he was?
Oh my! God.
That team is so horrendous. And this is the classic overreaction, but I'll say it.
It's overreaction Monday.
Everything's
That's what it is,
overreaction
right?
Monday. Carolina's
You're
got a
gonna
chance
say
at
it, the
0-17.
team.
They got a
Oh,
chance
yeah.
at 0-17.
You think
they got
so?
a chance at the Chicago White Sox of the NFL.
Really?
That's what it feels like. They were so horrendous last year, and they've been so horrendous for a couple of years. They're so poorly managed. Their owner's the worst owner now. Like, step aside any other bad owner you can think of in pro sports. That David Tepper is a disaster, and that team is a disaster. Bryce Young looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. They just went down to New Orleans, who was not a great team, and they got spanked. Like, destroyed.
37.
It was 47. It was like 47-10.
Oh,
Yeah, it was ugly, man.
I was happy for your New England Patriots.
That's a big win, man. That's a big win.
really?
And Joe
that
Burrow.
cost us one.
Yeah, one of our 3 tickets are already down. I'll tell you what, though, like Joe Burrow, this is a classic example of a guy. You build up your reputation, you build up your you start chipping away at a legacy.
Yeah.
Great at LSU, unbelievable college player, first overall, great rookie season, goes to a Super Bowl quick, and everyone's like, all right, we'll leave Burrow alone.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow was terrible yesterday. The Bengals were terrible. That Pats team is still not very good. Credit to them for showing up and playing, and they played really well. Defense was great. Their O-line, Gerard Mayo, that's a really cool story. First game as their head coach, he gets a win. But if that was Josh Allen, he would have got destroyed. The way Burrow kind of gets off the hook, and he shouldn't, because they weren't any good last year. And I know he got hurt. He was hurt early in the season. But Burrow's got to prove that he can get them back into a position where they're winning ball games again, because that's a horrible way to start a year.
Yeah.
New England's not any good.
You're right.
dude,
Like,
his whole image is it's just like he was like this next megastar, the guy that was going to compete with Mahomes and Allen and be the guy. And it's kind of been a circus ever since getting to the Super Bowl, to be honest with you. Brutal starts, injuries, and he's kind of bringing a lot of, I don't know, it's just a haircut, but it's just like, dude, what do you want to be? Do you want to be that guy? Or I don't know what he's trying to do. And it all comes down to performance. It's like, I said it to somebody, we were interviewing them before the season. I'm like, they start like crap. The last 3 years, they've been total garbage.
Yep.
Like just lackluster, non-interested, and he's been the worst culprit of all. He's been awful.
Yeah, he's got to get going. And listen, he wasn't alone. Like, the quarterback play throughout the league yesterday just was not overly impressive. No one was throwing for yards. The defense showed up. There were
Allen
a lot
got
of offense.
going once.
Allen
Buffalo
did
got
for
going.
sure. Like, he fumbled on that first possession of the game. He tried to escape a rush, and he got stripped. And I'm like, here we go. He's already turned the ball over. And then he just finds a way to – he runs for 2 touchdowns. He threw for another one. The Bills end up winning.
They were sloppy, though.
They were, but it was a fun game. Like, watching Josh Allen is – you get a bang for your buck, man. That guy is so fun to watch play.
player. Yeah.
He's so fun to watch play. And, yeah, it just wasn't – it wasn't a day of quarterbacking necessarily. It was a day of – defense being strong, and, certain guys went off. I thought the game last night on Sunday night was a great ball game, goes to overtime, and the Lions.
You're the coach there.
Danny Campbell was doing his thing, and they win a flip, and, good for them. The Lions are a good team, and they played mean and nasty last night, and it was a hard-nosed, quality game, and I think we're going to get that tonight. Like, you really can't ask for much better than this. You got Jets-Niners tonight, and then on Thursday – you've got the Bills in Miami playing the Dolphins. So, 2 games in the next 4 nights that mean a lot. 4 really good teams.
I don't want to dig inside your head, but don't you get the sense that the Niners are just going to absolutely destroy the Jets? I just I'm not trying to.
Oh, he's trying to get in their head.
I'm not. But my initial look at this is the Niners absolutely destroy the Jets. I don't know.
Doesn't it come down to Rodgers and not having a clue what you're going to see out of him? Like, really, last year we weren't certain what we'd see out of him, but he was healthy, and it was at home against the Bills.
He was usually money
Okay,
in
but
the
let's
bank.
make this a Jerry's. Let's say this was a Jerry's. What would the Jerry's percentage on you saying tonight Rodgers is going to be vintage Rodgers of, like, let's say 5 years ago. Like, what would your Jerry's be on? Mine's 10.
35%.
Mine's 10.
1 in 3. I'd say 1 in 3. 33%. A 1 in 3 chance that he looks vintage. And even if he does, it may not be good enough because the Niners are as good as they are, right? But he hasn't played in a long time. So on the road, it's not a building he likes. I've been there to see him play live. It's not a building that he's comfortable in because, he's from Northern California. I don't know. The Niners are who they are. The building's rocking. It's a Monday night. I don't know if I can have faith in Rodgers. And at some point, if you're going to beat the Niners in San Francisco, your quarterback's going to have to do something special. And it's on him to do that. But that's the beauty of the whole story. It's like a WWE script.
He could
His
do
return.
that. I just think it's
Absolutely.
highly unlikely.
I think he has a big game. I don't
You
know
do?
why. I don't know why, but just Aaron Rodgers seems to like attention. All eyes will be on him.
Well, he's got a new Netflix thing coming out,
There's
right?
it's a 3-episode special.
3-episode special on Aaron Rodgers.
I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
This
tuning
guy's
in.
a content machine, man.
He's going to say or do something stupid in there where you're like, and that's what will be talked about.
How does he get paid for that? Does someone just go up to him and say, "We're going to give you $10 million to do this," or is it like
Probably has points on the
views,
deal.
or-
Like he
I
probably
don't really
gets,
know.
yeah. Like it's probably your.
Yeah, he ain't doing it for free though.
No,
right?
no, he's going to make a boatload off of that because he'll own some of that content.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a points deal for him. Like he'll get.
How do points work on a streaming
Well,
thing on Netflix? I don't.
A lot of those
even
people like
understand
they
that.
get contracts, but they also get like views, like points.
the
on-
amount of times it hits
Yeah,
or
like,
goes
they'll get-
viral or
it's
whatever.
Content depends on again the individual, and if you have more cachet, I would think like the Brady situation that looked like a partnership.
What did we think of Tom in the booth yesterday?
He was a little stiff, I'll be honest. I don't know. Oh, what did you think of your boy?
From what I heard, there's work to do, but here's what he's going to do. He's going to this guy. First of all, he'll be the first one to check his mentions to say, what do people think about what I just did. It was just kind of Randy Carlyle. Okay, I thought from what I heard, there was nothing where I'm like, damn, that guy. I say, damn, that guy knows what the hell he's talking about. I think Luke. I know he's our buddy, but he's as good as it gets as far as describing, having emotion attached to it. He's as good as it gets as far as football. When you watch Brady, it was just kind of like, but he's held under a different lens because he's the greatest quarterback that's ever played. And people are like, you have to be good at this. You're not just a former football player. You're the former greatest quarterback that's ever played. So people's expectations are through the roof.
Yeah.
Especially the way Romo came out of the gate and he was predicting plays and everybody got all freaked out and fired up and they were like, this is the greatest thing ever. I think they had something in their mind that was going to be outrageous where they're like, TB12, man, he's just he's awesome at this. And clearly it's probably going to take some time. And after time, if it doesn't get better, I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady just walks right out of that booth and says, check, please. Thank you.
He might Drew Brees it. and
Yeah, I
say
want to
it
give
so
him time because you could tell right away they go to him and he was stiff. Like you could tell there was some
so nervous.
nerves attached to it. I remember my first time and probably several times doing color, doing that position. It's hard. Like there's a lot of moving parts. I was telling you, Hayes, off air, funny story about my first time. I was in Montreal working with our buddy Dave Randorf, and you got to describe a play. Well, I was looking at the jumbotron and not what was on the video for me. So they showed like Claude Julien standing there, and I'm like, as you see, it goes D to D, and I was completely describing something wrong, and Randorf like just poked me and pointed at the monitor, going, "That's what you're describing, not the jumbotron." Like
Right.
there's a lot of moving parts. I want to give him a couple weeks, but you're right, the bar is Tony Romo. We saw Tony Romo out of a game into the booth, and you're like, this guy's a rock star. So the expectation, Tom Brady, this is Tom Brady, the football player, should know everything, should know the plays. And I think he was prepared, but he looked nervous. And I thought his timing was off. Like it was.
Yeah, it was.
End of the day, everybody's going to end up hating him anyway. Everybody hates Romo. People just hate us
people
for no
hate
reason.
Romo?
Whatever.
I like
He's just.
I like Romo
Romo
too,
has
but-
regressed. I think where it's just like.
Yes. Well, and I think it's a perfect example of the way that they played. Like Tom Brady did not play a style that was exuberant. It was just
smart and precise.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Smart and precise. He read the defense. He knew his offense. He knew every single situation. And it was like artificial intelligence. It's like, this is what we're going to do because they're going to do that. Where Romo had a little bit more gunslinger and running around. And Romo came into the booth as if he wasn't prepared. And he's just watching the game and he's jumping out of his seat. And there was an element of that was really refreshing and really cool, where I would guess Brady's overly prepared. I'll bet you he's like, if we get into a situation like this in the second quarter where they're stopping back and he's got an RPO going, I'm going to say this. Can't do that if you're broadcasting.
Yeah.
You cannot be thinking, if I see this, I'm going to say that. That's when you get stiff. That's when it doesn't sound as if it's organic.
Yeah, because you just end up waiting around for that moment.
Exactly, and you miss stuff because you're looking for something that you think should be coming or you're prepared for. You can't have it that way. And there's another element to the Brady reaction is we know the money he's making, which is very different. Right. We know how much money that they're paying him. So, and it's the NFL. You're the A team in the NFL. You're the A team on Fox. If you're Romo, if you're Aikman, if you're Collinsworth, you're the best of the best.
Yeah.
And he's got to step right in there and prove it. I think he deserves time like everyone else. I have no question that Brady will get better. But this is a different level of pressure and nerves as well, because like when you're playing the sport you've played your whole life and you get there for the first time and you step on the ice or the field, you're like, I'm prepared. I'm nervous because I haven't done it, but I'm prepared and I know how to throw the ball. I know how to make a save. I know how to shoot the puck.
Yeah.
You cannot prepare for a live broadcast. There's no pregame. There's no practicing that way. He's never been in that situation. And you could just see it. He looked like a guy that was first day of school. He had the A suit on, and
well,
he went for the bump, and he got stiff.
Yeah, he wasn't moving. He was kind of
and
not like I was nervous.
He was
for him
he was
watching.
nervous, man. You could tell.
Now, who did he bump? Was it Collinsworth?
No, it was who's the rules official there with Fox?
Gene Stechator or some guy.
No. It's Pereira. Mike Pereira. Pereira, because Pereira was looking at him, then looked away, and he went with the bump, and Pereira.
I mean, who did he bump out of the booth?
Oh, Greg Olson is who he bumped out. And that was another thing. Olson was good.
Yeah.
Like, and there's that's the thing. Like, you listen. I thought Collinsworth on last night was unreal. I love Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah.
Again, like you said, you're right. Some people love, some people, hey, I can't take this guy. That guy's terrible. I think Collinsworth is great. Yeah. And a lot of it is because he's excitable, but you got to know the moment when to pop.
Yeah.
You can't come out singing, yelling, you know what I mean? Like it's like a musician. You can't just be playing like hard rock all the time. You got to mix in a ballad. You got to slow it down. You got to have a pacing. Where that's going to be challenging for Brady. And honestly, I don't know if he's got it in him. I don't know. He's got to prove that he does.
Right.
But if he's just monotone Tom Brady, that's not going to work.
No.
You got to get up in moments. You got to have different things. You got to have stories. You got to.
I've been dying to see more personality from him. That might just be him.
But that's what I saw. Remember, you guys jumped on me. We don't know, though, because we saw him in the public eye for 20 years. When he was in New England, he said nothing, did nothing.
Right.
Just put a smile on. Hey, how are you? See you later. He got out of New England, and he started opening up. But a lot of that was social media. Right. A lot of it was, wow, that's a brilliant Instagram post, or that's a funny tweet.
He's got a team telling him to do that, helping.
Exactly. There's no team here. It's on you. You
hear stories all the time. Name a sport, name somebody, but you go, that guy's really funny. Well, it doesn't look like it in the media. It doesn't. No. Behind the scenes, you're like, that guy's a great person, great. Everybody has a perception of somebody until you get to know them, and then you're like, oh, that guy's really. I remember talking about Pavel Datsyuk, and everybody associated with him was like, this guy's one of the funniest guys you've ever met, and really quick-witted. And same thing, Geno Malkin, but they didn't speak the language that well, so they were a bit nervous around it. So they're more quiet in these settings. I've been dying for Brady to, he leaves New England. Is he coming out of his shell? He does a Netflix thing. He looks stiff on that even.
I know.
Like,
that's
he was
what I'm
mad
saying,
about
man.
the Bobby Kraft joke, like it just. So I don't know if it helped him or hurt him last night. Like, I was waiting for like a different Tom Brady, a relaxed, like, you know what I would have done here. This is what I would, He's got to tell people what he would have done in the book. Yeah, he waited it out though.
Yeah,
Good for him.
You have to, because if you're up there, you're like, I will.
No.
I have to wait. Man.
Well, I thought he'd go knock that guy over.
Yes, Pereira's going to get buckled for that. He'll get fined by Fox.
I was hoping for Brady to basically come out of his skin and go, this is what I would have done in this situation. I'm the greatest quarterback of all time.
But you can't throw that out on a broadcast because people are going to be like, okay, you used it once. How many times are you going to go to the well and say, this is what I would have done?
No, you pick your
You know what it's like. You can't go to the well and say, back when I was playing. Like, you can only do that so many times.
Well, I would say back when I was playing, that puck would have went in. You know, I could joke and be
self-deprecating
about
and stuff,
it, right?
yes.
But it's I want to see more from him.
And you got to give him some time.
Yeah.
He deserves that. Everyone deserves that. It's his first game, and I thought Fox, was laying it on pretty thick. Tom Brady. That's got to change too, because you guys can speak to it in terms of the crew. He can't be separate from Burkhardt, from Aaron Andrews, from Rinaldi. Like, he's got to be a part of the crew.
100%.
It can't just be like, hey, we're down on the field, and everyone can't believe you're with us, Tom. Like, you're so much better than us. Back to you.
That's got to stop.
That can't continue. I understand it week one, but it can't go on forever. All right, we got a good one today. We got Luke coming in. Luke Wilson will join us. The Monday Nighter tonight. We'll get to Chris Johnston later this afternoon. Natalie Spooner's coming up, reigning MVP, PWHL. They've come out with the names of the 6 teams and the logos for the 6 teams.
Yeah,
some of them are all right. Some of them are brutal. Let's call it what it is.
They're different. They're unique, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Unique. There's some.
I like the Toronto Spectre, the logo and the color. I don't know why Spectre's Toronto.
Scepter.
Or Scepters. Yeah. Why is it Scepter? What does that have to do with the city of Toronto or Canada?
It's the first time. I'm going to be straight up. It's the first time I've ever heard that word in my life.
Yeah,
Scepter?
Toronto Scepter.
No, it's like a...
It's like a Game of Thrones kind of thing.
But here's the thing. You got to... From a business standpoint, it's a copyright. Like, they can... There's so many
you can get.
Names that are already copyrighted by other teams in that. So these have to be very unique and different, and they are.
I like Minnesota Frost. I like that. I like Boston Fleet. I don't get New York Sirens. I don't really get that. The Ottawa Charge, I don't mind, but their logos.
Yeah,
it's like a drunk uncle of the Flames and the Cavs.
I don't know, but
I don't know about that logo.
How about those? Was it New York's jerseys yesterday?
Yeah, the Giants. They looked like the Habs out there.
It was awful.
And Danny Dimes is playing like that, looking like the Habs of the 1940s. It was terrible.
There'll be clips coming out of our boy Donnie LaGreca today.
Oh,
we got to
he
hunt
will
for
be,
a couple.
My. They'll be on fire
They'll
today.
be on the case.
Yeah.
All right, so Natalie Spooner coming up later in the hour as well on the upcoming PWHL season, the names being revealed, how this all came about, what she makes of it. That more still to come. Later this afternoon, Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. Mets are in town. I'm seeing pictures of John Gibbons down there. Of course, he's working with the Mets, and he's in town, and he's on their bench.
He probably never thought he'd be back.
He looks very relaxed down there. He looks very relaxed. He looks great. Everyone's buzzing about him, right? Gibby, you're right. I mean, when he was effectively pushed out of here, and he knew it was coming. When Shapiro and Atkins took over, he wasn't going to be here long.
He had a podcast, didn't he?
He did do a podcast.
Yeah,
he was doing a podcast.
Been on with us.
He used to come on with us all the time. It was amazing. And then someone in New York called him up and said, "We want to bring you in," and the rest is history. And he's been a baseball lifer, and he started his career with New York, and he looks very good. And the Mets have been a great story, like a great story. Remember how bad it was for them last year?
Yep.
And they got rid of Verlander and Scherzer, and they were dumping all this money.
And parts of this year, man.
And the beginning of this season, it looked like they were going to lose 100 games.
Yeah.
And now they're like completely turned things around. So the Jays are back in action. I guess Bo Bichette was speaking with Shai Davidi, I think it was, and now he's saying all of a sudden he's pulling a 180. Not a 180. We should be fair to Bo because it's been reported for a while that he doesn't want to stay long term, that he has no interest in negotiating, that he'd want out as soon as he can. And Bo went on the record today and said, I want to play with Vladdy, and I want to play in Toronto, and I want to win in Toronto.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting – I think it's a smart play. If that's how you feel, get that out.
Exactly.
Get that out quickly. And I guess it puts the front office now in a position where they got to figure out what they're going to do with Bichette, because – the cynic in me also wonders if Bo's looking around saying, I don't know how many teams are like dying for me right now.
No kidding. It's
You
about
know?
the timing of it. Like, you come out now after this season and all your injuries and poor performance, where you've been on record by high-profile people reporting that, oh, what if this team wants to trade for you? And he's like, I'd welcome that. I'd be welcome to that. And then all of a sudden now he's dying to stay here the rest of his. It sounds disingenuous, man. It really does.
Yeah.
Like some of these comments, other guys like, oh, I'm taking my summer training very serious this summer. Oh, cool. You've been in the league for 10 years and now it's all of a sudden very serious. It's just, some of it's just like, why come out with it? Just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if
this
you're training every summer, you should be taking it seriously. Like, that's the thing. But you're right. It's a down season for Bo, and maybe he's doing some reflecting, going, okay, confidence is down a little bit. You hear rumblings, but it's a good sign if he wants to stay. If he's being genuine, that's good, because he's a good young player. Like,
yeah, and if they want him to stay long term,
I worry that he's
got another
talking all
year.
this stuff and then they trade him this summer.
And they might. You know, he's got a year left on his deal, and then he's a free agent. He can go anywhere he wants. Vladdy's in the same position. They're both linked in terms of when they both came up together, and he says that. You know, they were playing low A ball together, and they've been friends and very close for a long time. And when they arrived, it was the Vladdy and Bo show. It was the two of them, and the hope was they would drag this team to the promised land.
Yep.
And when they were a really good team a couple of years ago, those were the two guys who were leading the charge.
Exactly.
The last couple of years, it's fallen off, and I think in large part because last year they didn't have good years. This year, Bo's been non-existent based on injury largely, but when he's been playing, he's played very poorly. Like, his stats are staggering. Like, they're really, really bad. But it is interesting timing now that he's going to be activated and he's coming back and he's going to finish out the year. And you would think a negotiation would start one way or the other, either long-term with the Jays this offseason or seeking out employment elsewhere, like call around, see who might want you if you're possibly being traded. And he's going on the record saying, I want to be with Vladdy and the Jays and I want to win here. So that doesn't have to mean anything.
At the beginning of the year.
Well, ideally it would have. And again, I do wonder if he was playing great and was healthy, would he still be saying the same thing? I don't know. But it does put now the pressure on Shapiro and Atkins to answer for that. Like, he has said this is what he wants to see happen. Do you act on that? Do you immediately call him up and say, all right, here's a deal for you. We got a 5-year deal or a 10-year deal? Because that's another element of it. Eventually, business gets in play. Yes, you want to be here, but are you willing to play for $18 million a year? Or do you need $25 million a year?
What price point are you willing to?
Exactly. And what kind of term are we talking about here? And Something to Chew On is brought to you by Boston Pizza, the best place for any family meal. Plus, for the month of September, kids eat free with minimum purchase when you dine in. So grab the kids and hustle in your local BP tonight with this Bichette news. And I heard Dregs on this morning show talking about Mitch Marner and his contractual situation. Mitch has a year left. Bo will have a year left. Which Toronto star more likely to remain on his team 3 years from now? Mitch Marner or Bo Bichette? 70% of the votes saying Mitch Marner. We're about 600 votes in. But I don't know. If there was a third option, neither of them are here in 3 years. I wonder what kind of vote that would get.
Put that in there, dude.
I don't know. I would guess one of them is still around, but it's going to be an interesting 12 months for both of them.
Neither. There might be a neither, or it could be both.
Well, I mean, both guys are very, very similar, right? Yeah. Like, drafted, developed, came up with another star. The other star is blown up. Matthews, Vladdy. None of them have won anything in the playoffs. Matthews, Marner, Vladdy, Bo, none of it. Really good regular season guys, easy guys to like, good backstories. Love Toronto, love being Leafs, love being Jays.
All right.
Are you in it to win it or what? I mean, and that's on the teams to ultimately figure out. So we'll revisit that later this afternoon. Again, you can vote at Overdrive 1050 or find our TSN page, TSN 1050 page on Instagram. All right, Natalie Spooner coming up on the PWHL, making some big announcements today. Luke Willson in studio in 20 minutes. Al's brother in studio in about a half an hour. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, Luke Willson coming up in studio in about 20 minutes. Monday Nighter tonight, Jets, Niners. Last time I checked, the spread was 4.5.
Oh, yeah? Is that a big number?
Niners 4.5. It's a pretty big number.
Concerning number, right?
It's a number that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, FanDuel's got Niners minus 4.5. I don't think that's moved a lot. You can see it both ways. It's Fair amount of points. Jets are a good team, good defense. Does Rodgers show up? That's the question.
He's showing up, I'm telling you.
You're convinced he's going to show up.
He's going to last more than 4 snaps, put it that way.
Is that the bar, 4 snaps? I guess so, based on last year. Yeah, I guess it would be.
Yeah. There's probably a prop bet. Will he last the game?
That's how do you place odds on a prop bet for whether or not he lasts the whole game?
Because those injuries at his age, he can re-injure it, trying to get out of the pocket.
You absolutely
might see him drop. You never know.
Nick Bosa will be chasing him around tonight.
He's running for his life tonight.
So you're saying the Niners are the
prop.
play?
Yes, the Niners are the play.
Go tell Al's brother, because I know what he's doing right now. He's doing homework.
I watched that show, Receiver.
Yeah.
And Debo and Kittle are my guys.
Those are your guys?
Yeah.
I can tell you what Al's brother's doing right now. He is
sweating
30 feet from us, and he's coming up with reasons on why the Jets will cover tonight. That's what he's doing.
San Fran.
He's doing that right now, so just be prepared for that. All right, the PWHL. They have come up with names, logos, and I guess I should run them all off. I think we have them up on TSN4. Boston Fleet, Minnesota Frost, Montreal, is it French? Victoire? I think I'm saying Victoire de Montreal, should know that.
Okay.
New York Sirens, Ottawa Charge, and Toronto Sceptres.
Now, they can skate out.
With a scepter.
No, but with their stick like a scepter.
You think that's
what
the
I
plan?
think. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen.
All right. Well, I guess someone that would possibly be doing that soon would be Toronto Scepter. I guess I can say it's no longer PWHL Toronto. It's the Toronto Scepter forward MVP, reigning MVP. Here's Natalie Spooner joining us here on Overdrive. How you doing, Natalie?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
We're doing. Oh, we love it. Look at the shirt. Okay, so the gear's already out. All right, what do we think? How do we like Scepters? Do we like this? Tell us. What are we thinking about this?
It feels powerful. It feels strong. So I feel really good about it. It's exciting. We have, team names, and next will be the jerseys. But no, it feels great. I'm a Scepter.
Awesome.
Did you guys have any, I know that goes way above our heads. People are naming a team, but any input from you guys, or no? This was you got a phone call and said, by the way, we're this now, so I hope you like it.
Yeah, not much input, but I know they took a lot of input and a lot of time to come up with the name. Obviously, it was a lot of way above what we would do, a lot of research and all that. But I only found out yesterday.
Okay,
before
good.
the big reveal today.
Nice.
Well, I guarantee you guys probably as a team have a group chat. And, you don't have to tell us, but I'm going to ask anyways. Did somebody in the group chat go, what the hell is a scepter?
No, because I think by that point, they were already talking about what it was.
Okay,
but
fair enough.
I was for sure also that person at first. I was like, what is a scepter? And my mom, she's like, I do crosswords. I know what that is right away. I'm like, Mom, could have told me.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, Noodles got an idea that you're going to hold your sticks up.
Your stick,
is that? I don't think you can do that. I don't know.
You can do that opening night, right as you skate out.
Yes, I said I need to paint my stick like a scepter.
There you go.
I like it. Well, it coincides with the news last week, right? Coca-Cola Coliseum. You'll be playing the majority of your games down there as well, which is huge. It's been a whirlwind 12 months, I guess, 16, 18 months since this was, the arrival of the PWHL. We knew it was coming. 6 teams. We knew the cities. We went through the draft. We went through free agencies. We've been through a season. And now we got the names. We've got the colors. How do you digest all this? You look back in the last 18 months for you, Natalie, how do you kind of try to describe what life has been like for you? And I guess all of the women throughout the PWHL, if you can speak for them.
Yeah, I guess I was doing a bit of reflecting today, and as much as it's all happened so fast, there's so much that has happened that it almost feels like a lot longer. But really, the draft was almost about a year ago, which is crazy. So to see, just the amount of momentum we've created and how far we've come, and the records that we broke, the people that want the tickets, and now to be able to move up in venue to the Coca-Cola Coliseum, it's just exciting. I think it's an exciting time for women's hockey, and I think we're only going to just continue to build that momentum. And I think having team names is kind of that next step, pretty historic step to now have your original 6 have names, which is pretty cool.
Did you develop any rivalries last year? I know some of the games got a little chippy, and there was some language and some, scrums and stuff like that? Do you feel like you carry it on into the next season?
I feel like with Montreal, there's always kind of that rivalry, and we played against them at Scotiabank Arena, and then we played against them at the Bell Center. So 2 pretty big games and sold out games. So that was pretty big for us. I'd probably Minnesota after losing to them in the playoffs will be a big one that we'll want to come back and show them. So yeah, it's crazy when there's only 6 teams. So you play the same team quite a bit.
Absolutely, with Natalie Spooner of the Toronto Sceptres. And speaking with women, affiliated with the league, whether they're, players or broadcasters, it kept coming up like the importance of getting this right, like getting the names right, getting the team colors right, getting the logos right. Like this is it, the inaugural 6. I'm sure the hope is, who knows, maybe in a decade there's 12 teams, and then there's 24, and then there's 32. Hopefully it just follows in those footsteps of other major professional sports leagues in North America. Do you share the same sentiment? Like now that you know the 6 names and you look at the team colors and the logos, like how important it is to get it right, and then furthermore to market these and make sure people, accept them and they become kind of household names.
For sure. I think everything last season came together so quick that even as players, we were questioning, like, is this going to be able to happen and be able to be turned around so quick? And it ended up being, bigger and better than we could have ever imagined. But to think on top of all that work, to be able to come up with team names and logos and execute on that, I'm glad they took the extra year to be able to, meet the teams, meet the fan base, and get a real sense of what the community in each city was about. And I think that a lot of the team names do reflect the cities really well, and the people that come out to cheer us on.
Well, we'll ask you a personal question about your own play. It really could not have gone any better for you. You led the league in goals, points, you won the MVP. How do you possibly build off that going into season 2?
I don't know. I think, it's been a tough summer too with, my knee injury and rehabbing that, but really just, I guess, coming off pregnancy before, I had to tell myself to just have grace and just stick to the process and every day just work hard to get better. So I'm kind of just doing that same process now. And I'm sure, it'll be tough at first getting back on the ice. I probably won't feel exactly like myself, but just keep working day in and day out and hopefully get back to feeling good.
Absolutely. Well, it's a big day. Every big, moment feels like, okay, we could be looking back on this hopefully decade from now, 20, 30 years from now, saying, I remember when. Toronto Sceptres. There you go. I like the logo. What do you think of the logo? Some people are saying Taylor Swift maybe had access to this before you ladies grabbed it. What do you make of being associated with T Swift?
We're big T Swift fans on our team, so we don't mind.
Okay.
But I think it's pretty powerful. I love the logo. It's strong. With the scepter going right down the middle, the T for Toronto, I love it.
All right, perfect. We love it too. We're on board. All right, now
we got to get her to our game now.
That's the next play. Yeah. We got to get Taylor Swift into Toronto. Well, she's coming here. She'll be here in November.
Doing like 6 shows in November. Right? She'll come to a show.
She'll be there. We got to get her down to a game. We got to figure.
Now,
will
your boyfriend be there dressed as I don't know
Kelsey,
what the hell was he wearing?
You see him
yesterday?
at the U.S. Open? Yeah, with the goofy bucket hat.
He had a bucket hat. His outfit was probably a $10,000 outfit. It looked like a Gucci outfit or something. It was.
I am so tired of seeing them in public. I gotta tell you guys, oh my God.
Right. Well, not if they're at a Sceptres game. That's the next time we want to see them in public, right? Travis Kelce, because KC, they're in Buffalo too, like the same weekend. They're playing on the Sunday
He's
afternoon.
Coming up.
Everything's going to work out here. We love it. All right, Natalie. Best of luck with training camp and rehab, like you said, and congrats on the news today. We appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
You got it. There's Natalie Spooner of the Toronto Sceptres. All right, I'm coming around. I like the logo a lot. I like the colors a lot.
Well, the colors are
strong. I don't know the connection to Toronto, but like you said, like with copyright and with
I'm telling you, this is a business, and guaranteed, they had to come up with a unique name because somebody somewhere owned that, or it belonged to a team, or belonged to a certain area. So
I don't know, Noodles. I got to be honest, and I'm not.
Yeah.
It's just not ringing with me right now. I don't, it's because I've never seen anything like that or heard anything like it. Maybe it'll take a while. I don't know. it's just some of the names and the logos. There's some weird vibes to some of them. I'm not just gonna sit here and bullcrap everyone and say they're all awesome. And
you got to be honest, man.
Exactly.
It's a professional league. It's a big business, and we're hoping it works out.
The Ottawa Charge logo. Really, that's the best one you can come up with.
Yeah, that looks like our original Overdrive with the flames out of the O.
Did we had a flames.
Remember
out of
the
O?
first time when we came on the air? If you find it, 8 years, we had flames like an 80s garage band.
We got to go
flying
back
off
to
the
that.
O. You got to find it.
We got to go to Overdrive Retro.
If you go to the, like when we started,
with the O with the flames.
I remember looking at that saying we're a professional show and that's the best somebody could draw up. Like it was like
I think J-Mac drew it in his garage.
I think we may have hurt his feelings when we're like, I don't know about the flames.
If I remember correctly, he loved the Flames.
I think he was a big fan of the Flame.
And we had to
We're just like, we're not. We lose the Flame. It's like that scene in the Facebook movie. Just drop the.
Yeah.
Right? Just Facebook, man. We just need a regular O.
I'm telling you, we got to go back to the retro Overdrive with the Flames because there it is.
Yeah, that's it. Look at that.
Look
at that flame.
That's better.
It's not bad.
It's actually not. It's actually not that bad. It's not that bad. I have a T-shirt like that at home.
We just need the O with the flame. That's it.
You want to bring that back?
You can do O-D, and with the flames coming out.
I don't know.
I don't need it. So if you're making it, I don't want it.
I'll take it.
I don't need the Flames back.
I'll take an O hat, OD hat with the flames coming out.
Okay.
But Hayes, you said it's professional league. Like it's got to be
get
good.
it right.
You got to look at that and be like, those are all so good. Well done. It's like I honestly can't say that. So.
Well, I think there's a few of them that are really, really cool, and some of them, you're not going 6 for 6 and 12 for 12 with the logos and all that.
Sceptres and the
I
colors.
like the logo and the colors.
And having a
Sceptres
rock
gonna
star
take me
like
some time.
Natalie.
It doesn't hurt to have the MVP.
Exactly.
That's for sure. All right, hour 2 coming up. Luke Wilson's going to be in here. I don't know if I'm prepared.
You're in
for
big
this guy.
trouble. I mean, that other guy sitting out there is just
Al's
went right
brothers
through his
out there
shirt.
and cooking up reasons for why the Jets are going to cover tonight. I guarantee you.
Take San Fran.
That's what's coming in the next hour, okay? Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.